Do you know the three common mistakes that veterans make when they transition out of the military? Now, these are three common mistakes that I do not see within the veteran programs that are helping our veterans. And so, in my 25 years of experience in human resources and coaching on the other side of the table, these are the things that really help make a veteran successful. So stay tuned for the next couple of minutes, and I promise you will walk away with what you need for your next interview. Okay, so here is the first mistake that I've seen in my 25 years experience in human resources, the acronym trap. So here's the thing. I understand in the military, you have your own language, your own customs, and your own way of being. That includes speaking with acronyms. For the MSOC program or the ATSPES program, little news alert, we don't know what those acronyms mean. And so, one of the common mistakes that I see with veterans is that they transition out of that military environment and they transition into the public and private sector, and they are still speaking with those acronyms, in addition to trying to land a position and still communicating in that same way to the recruiter. So, your job is to figure out how you cut out those acronyms so that you can communicate to the recruiter and the hiring manager across the table from you. I will tell you, recruiters and hiring managers are very patient. Maybe one or two times they will ask you to spell out an acronym that you use. But then after a while, if it is a repeated pattern, that is communicating something to them that you don't want to communicate. And that is the inability to adapt to this new environment. So if you walk away with anything from number one, cut out those acronyms in the way you're communicating with hiring managers and recruiters and how they actually present themselves on your resume, because we don't know what you're talking about. So that brings us to the second common mistake that veterans make when they are transitioning out of the military, and that is the humility barrier. So you finally land that job interview and you're sitting across the table from the hiring manager and the recruiter, and they ask you a simple question. Tell me about a time when you exceeded customer expectations. Now, in your response, you explain the background, what actions were taken, and the result. But the one common thing that I've noticed in that explanation is the use of the word we. We did this. We accomplished that. We fulfilled this. We did X, Y, and Z, which resulted in what? So when you're interviewing for a public or a private sector position, the recruiter and hiring manager, they want to know, what did you do? So instead of saying we accomplished X, Y, and Z, tell us what your part is. Tell us, say, I did X, Y, and Z. And then I want you to take it the next step. I want you to qualify and quantify the results of those actions that you actually took. It is very admirable to be in the military, this sense of community, this teamwork mentality. However, when you're transitioning out of the military, you need to be able to explain the impact that you individually made on all of these projects and all of these teams that you were on. So, this brings us to the final common mistake that veterans make when they transition out of the military. And I call this one the personality freeze. So you were in an environment that was very formal. You used titles to address individuals. There was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and yes, sir, and no, sir. And now you're transitioning into an environment where those things are not the same. For an example, on the other side of the table, in my experience in human resources, I have been called ma'am, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, so many times within interviews where I jumped in and said, hey, thank you so much for the respect and that title. However, here at our organization, we are on a first name basis. So just call me Sharita. And we want you to feel comfortable addressing everyone else, even starting with us with our first names. And so if you walk away with anything from this third common mistake, I want you to understand that the hiring manager and the recruiter, they want to know about your personality. They want to see who you are. So I would say drop the rigid, robotic formalities. Keep the professionalism, but also let your personality shine through. Those are the three common mistakes that veterans make as they are transitioning from the military world to the civilian world. And if you are a veteran that is transitioning, hopefully you found this information helpful. If you know of any other transitioning veterans, please like, subscribe, and share this video with them so that it will be a benefit for them along their journey. In addition to that, I have some links in the comment section where I do offer additional one on one services to help you along the way with your journey, including mock interviewing and salary negotiations. As a seasoned human resource professional, in addition to being a military spouse, I have a lot of passion in this area. So thank you so much for allowing me to be with you on your journey, and I'll see you next time.